Welcome to The Pull Bags Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the Back Issue Classics are also what's in The Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is Back Issue Classics, episode 66 of Back Issue Classics. And sadly, folks, I didn't plan this right. Almost everything with a 66, it has to be Star Wars, right? Well, no, not today, because today we hate Fairyland. I'm, of course, TFG and Mike. Joining me is ComicRevolt Dan. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going, and we are returning to Fairyland to talk about issues 3 and 4. Man, this comic goes through narrators like Homer Simpson goes through donuts.
Yeah.
Poor. No wonder you need a narrators guild. Holy crap.
Yeah.
First the moon, then there was something else. Now there's this guy who, I swear, as soon as I opened issue 3 here, and the guy's like, "Hello, my dear reader. I'm afraid there's a bit of a situation going on here, so today's storytelling might fall a little below the standards of the Narrators Guild. Nevertheless, I swear, I hear, I hear John Cleese in my head. I hear Basil Fawlty from Fawlty Towers." So we said last time, because people remember the last podcast the first podcast we did for this, at the ending of issue 2, we had the zombie apocalypse uprising. Were you surprised?
I mean, it's continuing with the format that we've seen, for sure, for the first few, where you leave at that, what seems like an unsurmountable odds of a cliffhanger, and then obviously, it just flashes forward maybe 10, 15 minutes, and it's like, well, that was dealt with no issue, which, I mean, the question is, does that type of gag get old? And so far it hasn't. I thought they've kind of upped it, and it's been kind of funny each time, so I've enjoyed it, but, it's I'm enjoying it. There's a certain format to this, but I think what we're seeing as with these two issues is that, Scotty Young establishes that formula, but then now it's starting to switch already in the third, fourth issue.
Yeah, it's switching very well. Normally you either have a story beat that switches too fast or a story beat that lasts for issues and looking at you, Clone Saga, that kind of thing. But this, I mean, I was, like I said last time, the coolest thing about this comic series and a few other comic series that I'm reading is I can't tell what the hell is happening next. And not that I'm going to sit here and try to, but it's one of those things where, if you're watching a TV show that the formula to, even if an episode ends on it, even if a season finale ends on a cliffhanger, you can pretty much know that the main part of the story for the next season is going to be there and it's going to be fine. Here, I have no idea what the heck's going to happen. So they, Gertrude and Larry, Gertrude is the girl who has been stuck in Fairyland for 27 years, 27 Earth years, and her little Jiminy Cricket type guide, Larry, they have dispatched with the zombie village. Is that a different moon in that one panel of issue 3? When the panel opens up and it shows the full page?
I think it's the same moon, just bandaged up.
Oh, it is the same moon.
It's like a mummified.
Scotty, that's wrong. That's so wrong.
He's got moon bandages and stuff like that to overcome it.
Yeah, he's got moon bandages, but because it's I guess it's a waxing crescent, I guess essentially, or something. Because I used to know all that moon jargon, waning, waxing, whatever, wax on, wax off. But the way it is, it's a half moon. But the way it's drawn, the way the face is drawn on there, it basically looks like half his face has been blown off. Where's John Travolta and Nicolas Cage when you really need them? So they bring up a point of killing the zombies, and because they're undead, couldn't they just undead again? And they pull out this thing called a Scorchling, which is essentially a maleficent red-looking dragon thing. Because, I mean, come on, look at those horns.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, you see influences all over from other fairy tales and things like that, and certainly there's no doubt that there is a little bit of a Sleeping Beauty-esque dragoness to that creature.
Yeah, absolutely.
More Sleeping Beauty than not Lord of the Rings. More Sleeping Beauty than Game of Thrones for sure.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the Game of Chairs video going around, the Sesame Street parody?
Yeah, I saw that, and they also they did a Mad Men one as well. So that's
oh god, I love I am so not I don't do HBO. I'm not doing HBO just to be able to watch that show or anything like that. So it's one of those things where I've never actually seen Game of Thrones, but I have several hundred people that are within my social media circle that always talk about the show. One of them is my good buddy Lady Rex. She always talks about winter is coming, and I'm like, oh god. So I watched the Sesame, and I know I'm off topic here, but it kind of ties in. I watched the Sesame Street thing, and I'm just waiting for a winter is coming joke. Oh god, that was so hilarious. So as we continue in this story, Queen Claudia goes to the witch, and apparently she's not pleased with how the witch's plan didn't work, because obviously Gert and Larry survived the zombie apocalypse. And she goes to the queen goes to this giant talking tree.
Yeah, I love this little exchange they have of basically, she's trying to, use her authority. She just can't she can't get anything right. Like it seems like she's just trying to, basically one up this tree, and even the tree has no respect for her. She's like, no, you need to give the password. You're not special. Don't be ridiculous.
Yep. And all I can see, once she gets in to see the council, all I can think of, and I know this is sad and horrible and wrong, it's the Santa Claus 3, folks.
See, that's a reference you're alone on, because I think I stopped after the first Santa Claus. I'm like, I'm good. I enjoyed that movie. I don't need to ruin it with more Santa Claus. I would.
The second one.
I was thinking of Wreck-It Ralph. Where they have the meeting with all the villains. That's kind of what was more in my mind.
Yeah.
But because you have the scary looking clown guy, you have some characters that reminded me of some of those monster Muppets from the Muppet Show a little bit. Yeah. But I guess they're not necessarily all villains. But they have even Alice in Wonderland. Like I said, it's again just Scotty Young having a lot of fun and being creative. And there's to the point where you have a ice cream cone that's alive, like it just looks.
Yeah, that was awesome. The ice cream cone thing is just epic and cool, and I absolutely love it. I just now noticed. I didn't notice it earlier, but I noticed it now right before you said it. I'm like, wait, the ice cream cone is alive? Oh, that's hilarious. So we get the exposition of how, because Gertrude is still a guest in Fairyland, the queen can't kill her. And she hatches a plan to bring in someone new, which will, that person will find the key, which will then, negate Gertrude being able to find the key, which will then allow Gertrude to become a lifetime citizen, and the queen can kill her, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I think, we're entering into Act 2 here for the story, and suddenly now there are stakes about to be established, because there's a threat that we've seen that Gertrude pretty much is almost like this invincible Terminator that can't be stopped. But the one thing that could go wrong is that she could be stuck in Fairyland, which would be, the worst thing for her possible. So,
absolutely, and that's the Queen's plan. And the funny thing is, even between the first 2 issues and now, I know they've said that Gertrude and Larry are on the quest to find the key, but everything that's happened because it's been so long since she's been attempting to find this. It just seems like they're on a never-ending adventure. I mean, I keep wondering when's one of the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow are gonna show up.
Yeah, and it's which we'll get into with that, which issue number 4. It does kind of seem endless. And talking about endless, there's a good sequence within this, a good time lapse sequence where she falls from
the bridge,
and then she's just laying there, and then you see Larry kind of almost go through this entire new life where he builds the house as a kid, gets divorced, burns his house down. I thought that was a rather hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
All through,
I like the.
It's almost like go ahead. Sorry.
I like the panel right before it starts where he says, "Great, nothing like a little rain to make a miserable life a bit more miserable. Thanks, Weather King. You're welcome." And then we go through the sequence, like you said.
It's great, and then she begins to grow a face beard of all her crazy hair, which is pretty fun. So, like Rumpelstiltskin, obviously, it's a good little unexpected twist.
Yeah, it is. It's very. And then it takes all this time, and then someone starts singing, and she finally says something. If you don't stop this singing, I'm going to make sure you don't live long enough to get married and raise a family. So it ain't me. And we meet the girl Pharrell Williams. Sorry.
Maybe.
I really feel that Happy should be playing behind our voices right about now, folks. So we meet the Queen's new guest. Her name is Happy. And she's a blue-haired girl who kind of reminds me of something out of the My Little Pony comics.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Also, like, Dora the Explorer came to my mind just with, like, the super huge... Well, I guess Dora the Explorer doesn't really have huge eyes, but it's just the antithesis of Gretchen. She just, like, has that look on her, super happy, almost like anime-ish size eyes, and of course called Happy, just to, rub it in just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this interaction between these two. Just you have these two polar opposite people kind of going back and forth. Again, a lot of visual comedy with that of we talked about the shared beard, and you see it get shaved off, and she has all those little bandages off her face and everything. It's just there's just so much going on in each panel. There's within a lot of visual jokes that you can miss. And then honestly, this is the second time I read this, and there's a lot of you can miss on the first run because there's a lot going on in the background, a lot of smart jokes that you can easily miss, a lot of references. So it's kind of good to watch it again.
The coolest thing about this, the story beat with the new character Happy here, is it took her a whole day to get to where Gertrude and Larry are, whereas Gertrude's been at this for 27 Earth years. And the girl has already gotten to where she is in a whole day.
Yeah.
And that, of course, sends Gertrude into a rage. I love how Scotty does the rage faces. Like last time when we did one of these, I took a screen cap of Larry when he was exploding from some sort of, I don't know, he said something about it's going to be a long night or something or other. And you have a panel here with after Gert is like, you've only been here a day, as just this whole, I just love the rage faces. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I get. Guess the thing that always reminds me of is like a Looney Tunes style to it. It just Looney Tunes gone to like. I guess my question would be, gory. Did you at all think more gore? These have all ended on to laugh panel, or this one is a little bit different because we're talking about that you might get starting this. Where it seems that this issue's coming on what she looks like with all those undone an eye relatively easily, and like her arms are basically off. She's a leg that's entirely. And this is when she gets kind of mowed down by a rainbow. It's rather gruesome. Did you think that
she gets mowed down by a rainbow?
Her character, and we're going to be now following Happy?
No, not really, because I figured that... Because they've already stated that people can die in Fairyland, but they generally don't normally. I mean, people have died, but, like, okay, you take the first killing Gertrude ever did, which was she shot the moon or she axed the moon, whatever. She killed the moon. The moon's still there. He's very badly injured, but he's still there. I mean, yeah, I don't expect the zombies to come back from being set on fire. But I don't know. I didn't like, it was shocking, but it wasn't shocking in a way of, oh my God, where's the story going to go now? I just assumed that Scotty is going to have the two of them play out, and it's kind of like, a race for the prize, kind of like, scavenger hunt deal-y thing. I thought that's what they were going to turn it into. But yeah, that final page is very creepy in this. And then it's the coolest thing, and I people really do need to read the next page where it says, I Hate Fairyland #4. I just love Scotty's writing on here where he's like, see what I did there? I killed Gert. I kept making fun of you for thinking I actually kill her, and then I did it. I killed her. Woot. This is coming out all wrong. I didn't really kill anyone. I just mean that I thought up the death of one of the most beloved characters in comics and carried it out in the page, and none of you saw it coming. I do feel bad for robbing you of Gert, your favorite character of all time. We all know that in comics there's no coming back from the dead. Never, ever, 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 ever. Especially in the very real world of Fairyland. I love how he just is poking that to be honest, Marvel shtick and DC shtick. Issue #3 was really fun. The whole series to this point has been really fun. Did you have a favorite scene out of issue 3?
Actually, one of my favorite moments is this one small little panel. It's in I just love the way it looks and love the little joke. It's with her walking away from the explosion, and she's making a comment about like, "Hey, I'm trying to walk away in slow motion here from an explosion," and it's just like she's in silhouette, and I just thought it was kind of funny because it's something I didn't expect. But that was probably my favorite individual small panel. But besides that, the other thing that kind of caught my eye was the interaction between the Queen and the great, what is it called? The great bark tree, which was again.
Oh, the tree, yeah.
So those are the moments that stood out to me.
Yeah. The tree. What does it remind? It reminded me of something the other day. I don't remember now. Something came up. But yeah, for me, it like you said, the slow motion walk away. I don't think this could ever happen, and I hope to God Cartoon Network doesn't do it. I hope if Scotty did do an animated series of this, it would have to be something other than Cartoon Network. It'd have to be like late night or Netflix or something, because I need to see her in animated form walking away, doing the slow motion walk away from the explosion, because that's just awesome.
Yeah, I would love to see like this. I think could translate well to like an animated cartoon. It's already like there already. I mean, there's not much you need to change. I mean, of course, it couldn't be on like during the day for kids. You'd have to figure out how to way to advertise it and find it to work. Maybe an Adult Swim show, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah, they still do Adult
cartoons,
Swim.
but yeah, I don't know. I overall I thought it was a very solid issue. They've kind of all been good. Like my biggest worry coming into this was like, okay, this is a good, one shot, maybe 2 episodes, but 2 issues, but 3 issues in, I'm like, okay, this actually has me. This probably left me at the most positive looking forward, because it does seem like I'm not really sure where this is going now. This has a lot of different options of where this could go, and now there's a new element. And like I said, for the first time, we have really huge stakes, because there's a chance that she could be stuck in Fairyland, and this is the type of comic I feel like would not end in a happy ending. Like I could see it actually not working out for Gertrude in the end. So that has me super invested, and just brought it up to a new level for me.
Yeah. So we get to issue 4 here. And we start out with Mr. Grubbins, a new narrator, who Larry promptly kills.
I love the little twist. It's been heard the entire time, and you think, oh, well, Gertrude's not there. Maybe he'll survive. Nope, he's dead. Right in the head.
Yeah.
Right in the head.
And no, she survived, but like you said, she's walking like Bizarro in this panel.
Bizarro, or like Bizarro zombified or zombie.
No, I mean Bizarro from Superman. Bizarro, because he does have turned in feet, and so so we get this, and wait, Larry sprays her with some sort of magical dust, and she's healed. Okay.
I think that goes back to the comment you talked about with Scotty Young, the way he's adding it, and that is very often when a comic's like you'll get someone who is hurt and they magically feel better. Or it makes me think actually of the movie Last Action Hero, where there's a scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger's like covered in tar, and you think, wow, how's that gonna happen? Then he gets a towel and cleans himself off in like a couple minutes, like 30 seconds, and it's just that idea of someone is hurt or really badly injured, and then in the next scene or sequence they're perfectly fine. It's as if magic pixie dust was thrown on them. So that was my assumption, is him again commenting on how death is treated in comics and how injury itself is treated in comics.
Absolutely, and it's a pretty funny comment. So she gets this vanity gate because she needs to go see another friend of hers, and we go see the Queen, who is having a hair day. All these different hairstyles, just crazy. Excuse me. And then somebody pulls her through the mirror. Talk about through the looking glass. Holy crap.
And I think this is the first time we really saw these two interact. We've seen the Queen kind of been trying to set other people and try to kill her, but seeing them face to face was rather fun. And this goes on for a few panels, which is unlike this comic, because usually it goes scene to scene rather quickly, but this goes on for a few pages, which is maybe the longest conversation the series has had so far. And it's worth it, though. I think they've been building up to this moment, and it finally happens, and certainly pays off. I mean, it's seeing these two people that absolutely hate each other, and it's rather, again, a lot of great visual gags, and like you mentioned with the room of just all the mirrors and everything, which is great. It's almost like Matrix meets Alice in Wonderland or something with the white background.
Yeah, or Alice in Wonderland meets The Flash, because The Flash does have Mirror Master.
Yeah, there you go.
So they meet up, and yeah, you're right. They, first of all, they've only ever done like some sort of visual gag. I think Scotty's only ever done some sort of visual gag where they have some sort of visual communication, but actually the two of them being in the same room at the same time, that hasn't happened until now. And she's, the two of them are going on, and Gert is going on about why is the other girl here, and whatever else, and the Queen says, they just get in this giant fight, and the queen does attempt to destroy her, except that obviously it doesn't work. But hey, the queen had to let off some sort of steam.
Yeah.
And again, the art, Scotty's art is great in this. Oh God, if we could get to talk to him, I could die and go to heaven.
Yeah,
I just ain't going to Fairyland. I'll tell you that. This is not a place I want. This is one of those things where it's a nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah. I love how the queen's hair is used to, like, you see when she gets mad and uses her powers, it becomes like darker and almost like Lady Frankenstein-esque, or Wife of Frankenstein-esque, and she uses her powers. And I get talking about it having knowing effect. I like the image of her like blasting Gertrude with her powers, and it's just like this skeleton silhouette of her laughing, which is it's creepy in all the best ways possible. But it's
it's just so crazy.
And
as we go ahead.
You mentioned too, like it was established last issue, like Gertrude has been here for 20-some years having no luck, and then we see Happy's like attempt at it, and all like how like amazing she is at this quest. You know, it's like when you play a video game and you stink at it, you try it forever, and then someone comes along and like they pick up the controller and like beat it in like one sitting. And you're like, what? I've been doing this forever, and then this is kind of what happens here.
And I think it's because Happy is still a little girl. I mean, Gertrude technically is 27 years old. I mean, that's not old, folks, but in Fairyland standards, that's pretty fluffing old.
Yeah, and I think too, she is smarter, maybe more clever, and more aware of how to play these games than Gertrude. She maybe come up with the type of you see how those like I said, like Blue's Clues or whatever, where you have to solve the puzzles, and it seems like she clearly is much better at it than Gertrude. I think is more so self-absorbed that she can't figure these things out, because she just kind of loses her temper and ends up just shooting the guy rather than trying to solve the puzzle. She just shoots him in the face because it's a quicker resolution that way.
Yeah. Except it's going to put her down the wrong path. And that's the cool thing, like we mentioned earlier in issue 3 about, you would ask me, do we think that it's going to now just follow Happy instead of Gert? And that's why I said no. I think it's going to end up being a rat race kind of scavenger hunt thing. And we see that happen here in issue 4 after the scene where Gert says, sure it will. Besides, Happy is new to this place. It's not all going to be so easy for her. And then we see Happy's journey and how easy it is for her. So I thought that was really cool. And then it switches back to Gert and Larry and how tough it is for them to do all this stuff.
Yeah. And we see her too. She ends up going down this different path. And I love the juxtaposition of Happy's like adventure, where she's like, everyone's rather smiling and happy. She's like working with some weird looking pillows and stuffed dolls, and then Gertrude ends up going into like the dark aspect of it with mortified trees, and it's much more like gruesome, like huge creatures with gigantic boogers coming out of their head. It's just, I don't know, it's insane. Like sometimes you don't know what to expect with a comic because of the plot. With this, you don't know what to expect just because of just the world, the imagination, and just the images of what you'll see. It's something different every time, which makes it a lot of fun to read.
Looking at the page where they say scale the peaks of the snoring snotties.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized she's climbing up boogers.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing, but it's just
nice green color. It's got to smell great, and the creatures have like gigantic warts and pimples on them. They all look like Abe Vigoda,
Yeah. So. And then we get to Dr. Wily's fortress. I'm sorry, this isn't Mega Man. I swear, as soon as I saw the Skull Castle, I thought it was Dr. Wily's fortress.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a good one-page splash page with the.
It is very much so, because again, each of these areas, folks, that we're talking about in this issue as they go through, like we said, the peaks of the snoring snotties, or the forest, we still have to survive the bawling fields. In the bawling fields, it's nothing but bawling babies. They're crying all over the place in the entire field. So each of these areas has had its various things, and with the Skull Castle, there's giant skull clouds coming up around, behind, and beside it, which is, again, very, very cool. So she dispatches of the guard at the castle door, and then they go into the castle and they see this giant skull knight looking thing. Okay, it was essentially death, I assume.
Yeah, I guess, or some sort of just like the if the queen is the power of good, he seems to be more of the controller of the evil magic that is in this land. Yeah. So, I guess Sauron, maybe like a Sauron Skeletor type of creature.
Yeah, the only problem is, and I think Scotty did this on purpose, the various close-ups of this character, like the panel where he says, "I do, it's quite the plot twist," and then the two panels after that, again, "I know everything, like all the stuff." That giant skull on his face, it's the Punisher. It's what it is. It's the Punisher skull.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a little longer, but it has the same outline.
Yeah, it is a little longer, but I'm saying on those two panels specifically, it's essentially a long version of the Punisher skull. I just thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
I like how she has to ask Larry, "What the hell is a caveat?"
Because that's, I mean, you think about it, she's still only had like a third grade education, or even that at this point. So those big words, she's on a big, doesn't know. Though she does know how to use the middle finger, because that's something you pick up on rather quickly.
Every child picks up on the middle finger because parents forget sometimes and use it.
Yeah.
So. And this one ends with a super giant monster thing.
Yeah, again, a good. It's almost like a turn on the alien creature that has the thing come out of its mouth, where you're like, oh, it looks like a crazy teddy bear, but you realize that's really attached to this gigantic, crazy creature with multiple eyes and legs, and it's just like a gigantic monster. But on that same panel too, on top of the page, like again, like a lot of influences. The way he does the face with it to show like the motion of her falling down this gigantic shaft, it so reminds me of Ren and Stimpy. Just the outline, the way the tongues are done, just like it's so like a Ren and Stimpy face to me. So
it is, but it's like, and that was the other thing I was kind of worried about when we started doing this. Once I read the first two issues, was how grotesque Scotty's art, how grotesque he was going to make certain parts of the art because of that Ren and Stimpy. I'm just so anti Ren and Stimpy style, like just that specific cartoon style for that specific cartoon. But here, I don't mind it at all. I thought it was going to gross me out, but it honestly doesn't. And yeah, that ending. I wonder if Scotty's ever going to put in a blue plate special joke from Spaceballs. That would be awesome.
I don't know.
And in the back here for issue 4, we have the various alternate covers.
Yeah, I really like the anime-esque one. Like that's kind of cool. I'm glad he doesn't do that style, but it's a good little one-off again with the fractured moon in the background. But that one was probably my favorite of all the different alternate ones. Though the last one with her punching a star and it bleeding is also pretty great.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite because the sun and the moon are both crying. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, that one image probably gives you exactly what to expect with this comic. It's like, yeah, if you find that image interesting and hilarious, then this is the book you want to read. So,
Yeah, it really, really is. I'm really enjoying this. I absolutely love this series. It's such a fun series, and again, as I said earlier, you don't know what to expect out of it at all.
Yeah, it is. That's a keyword for it. It's fun. It's a visual feast. It's light. It doesn't. It's a quick read. It's highly enjoyable. I haven't had much negative to say about it because I think it, it recognizes what it is. It stays within its framework, but it does try to do new things every time. I feel like, okay, we're kind of getting formulaic here. Something new happens to change that. Mm-hmm. And here again, we're at it kind of closing in on this last arc here. I think the next issue is the last issue of this specific arc, or we're near there. So. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to next time we talk about the closing of this first story and seeing where to go after this. But it's a great comic. It's original but still I think has influences, and I love how it comments both on just comics alone as well as other aspects of just entertainment at large.
See, this is a way for and really reading this series should be a lesson in any art or writing class or writing design school, whatever you want to call it, for anyone that wants to get into comics, as far as go about creating your own characters. You can use all kinds of tropes that you want, but with what he's doing so far with this series, I mean, he's had several different tropes, and like you said, he does poke fun at the comic book industry. I mean, the whole thing I read earlier about the whole, death in comics, I mean, it's been going on for 70 plus years, so it's just one of those things where he's created his own story. We don't know where it's going. Like I said before, I have no idea where it's going to go. Like, I could have sworn we were going to see more of Happy in issue 4 than what we did. I liked what we saw of her, and I'm sure, once we get to next time in 5 and 6, we'll see more. But I'm just like, oh God, this series is just one of the best I've read from Image in comics. I mean, I would say if I was making it would probably have to be a top 5 since it's a short list for original like creator-owned comics. It'd probably be in the top 3 so far, because there's not too much else that I've read creator-owned that I've personally read that I could recommend that high on a top 5 list. But yeah, I mean, this series is just so fun. For issues 3 and 4, what are you going to rate each of them 0 to 5?
I'm going to stay consistent here for the most part. The first 2 I gave 4s out of 5s, and this is the same thing for me. It's, again, solid 4s, really good. It's consistent in a good way. So 4 out of 5s for both of them for me.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I'm going to give issue 3 a 4 and issue 4 a 4 out of 5 as well. Absolutely love it. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear something, I don't know, ad or something or other, and we'll be back after this.
Now for a behind-the-scenes look at Geekcast Radio Network's newest show, Talking in Circles.
So, Chuck, Greg, what are you guys thinking for this week's show?
Well, Dan, how about we just talk about the things that we've read or watched this week?
We do reviews like that every week, Chuck. How about a game like Fact or Fiction or The Power of Names?
Those are great, and we're always coming up with new ideas for games. And how about some top 5s? You know how I love my top 5s.
What about tournament-style brackets, or sequel, reboot, and destroy? Who will win in a fight? Taking too far? Crazy but true news? Or
yes, it appears we have lots of things to work on.
Listen to Talking in Circles, taking timeless topics in new directions. Every Tuesday on iTunes or GeekCastRadio.com, the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hey, Dan, who's the guy with the creepy voice?
Well, I am shocked and dismayed. Well, now you can't be both. You be shocked, I'll be dismayed.
Coming in 2016, Steve Megatron and myself, TF2 and Mike, bring you a brand new TV review show. Welcome to Podcaster Meets World. That's right, we're launching a Boy and Girl Meets World review podcast here on the GCRN. It'll take us 70 episodes of the podcast to review all 158 episodes of Boy Meets World. After that, we will tackle Girl Meets World. You can find Podcaster Meets World on GeekCastRadio.com and iTunes starting late summer, early fall 2016. So come on and walk through the world with us.
Do you like retro cartoons? Then Saturday Morning Rewind is the podcast for you. Join them each month as they talk about classic cartoons and interview legendary voice actors like Jim Cummings.
I am the terror that flaps in the night.
Corey Burton.
Sometimes toys can be so flighty.
Rob Paulson.
Sure, Blaine, but how are we going to find chaps our size?
Nancy Cartwright and many more.
Eat my shorts.
So grab a bowl of Lucky Charms.
They're magically delicious.
Put on your hammer pants. Go to SaturdayMorningRewind.com. And be prepared to feel like a kid again. Once again, that's SaturdayMorningRewind.com. Saturday Morning Rewind was voted Best Podcast Ever by its host, Tim Nidell. So it's gotta be good.
We brought the entire convention center to the brink of an inter-genre geek war.
Okay, Michael, if we're going to tackle this podcast thing, we've got to do something really special. It has to be cool, daily, in audio form, and undetectable by radar. Something that screams summer. I know, let's do a Phineas and Ferb review podcast. We'll call it the Podcast Organization Without a Cool Acronym, or POWCA for short. What do you think?
I think if we're not careful, Candace is going to bust us.
You can find POWCA on the Geekcast Radio Network, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and all of the other methods you find podcasts.
We'll give you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
All right, we are back here inside the pull bag, and we're almost through the month of July. Here inside the pull bag, what have you guys got coming up on Talking in Circles?
That's a good question. We're taking it week by week. I think we'll probably be talking Suicide Squad soon. Have some top fives lined up. Potentially going to go into talk about some of the weirdest moments in comics and TV that we've seen, and maybe do a Mount Rushmore here or there. But still kind of playing by ear, see how things go for this month. But it does seem like the summer does give us a lot of options, because San Diego Comic-Con is coming out, and we'll probably touch upon what's going on there and some of the bigger news events and all that good stuff as well.
Absolutely. All right, for the pull bag, same thing, honestly. I just, pull in whoever I can, be like, you want to talk about this comic? Read it, and then show up, we'll talk. So that's pretty much what it is. I know this month we've had the end of the Bebop and Rocksteady 5-issue miniseries from IDW, which was damn good. We had Hot Damn issue number 3, so there's that. And we also had this issue, and who knows what else. I think we're also doing a couple of Rebirth things this month as well, so yay, DC reboot, Rebirth. So make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
Just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.